It's time for your Low Country Real Estate Market Update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-400-8009. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston, and welcome to another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. Man, we got a lot to talk about today. There's some new reports coming out about what this closure of the Silicon Valley Bank is going to mean for the real estate market, what it's going to mean for interest rates, how it's going to affect pricing, inventory, so much to talk about, and so many different directions that I think this can go. We're going to talk about that this morning. We're going to talk about what's happening as a result of the cool down in the national real estate market. You know, the fact that we have, for the first time in over a decade, posted year-over-year losses in the sales price of homes. It's not necessarily mirroring what's happening here in the Charleston market, but we're starting to see some signs that things are definitely slowing down. In fact, I would say that we're not starting to see signs. We've been talking about the signs for well over a year on this program if you've tuned in before. So if this is your first time tuning in, let me just give you a bit of an idea of what to expect here. So my name is Brian Beatty. I've been selling real estate here locally for 17 years. I've done about 1,300 transactions locally, about $1 billion worth of real estate volume represented. I own investment property. My family's been in real estate for 60 plus years. It's just in our blood. And I've been on the show for over a decade helping you better understand what's happening in the real estate market. I share my experiences with you as somebody that helps folks transact on a daily basis. So does my team. We've got about 15 folks that all work hard to make sure that you're well taken care of should you be interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate, or maybe you have a home that you'd like to rent out. We have a property management division as well. And so we just share all that information with you so that you are an informed consumer. We talk a lot about the process of buying or selling or investing in real estate on this show, and how that process kind of changes as the market changes. So if at any point in time you want to reach out to me, you say, hey, Brian, I'd like to talk with you about working together to help me sell my home, or we're interested in buying a home or acquiring an investment property, or I've got a home that I'd like to keep and rent it out, tell me a little bit more about your property management services, then I encourage you to give me a call. Let's have a chat. We'd love to earn your business. My number is 843-800-0065. That's 843-800-0065. Or you can go online and check out our website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. A lot of great information on there. Search the MLS, find out more about our team, who we are, what we do, what we sell, how we sell it. Find out how many buyers there are in our database for your home. We've got a really interesting tool that we've connected to our database so that in real time, we can say, if you're selling a home in this area and in this price range, we have X number of buyers that we have full contact information for that have previously been on our site looking at other properties. We may or may not be in contact with them, but it's usually hundreds of people. I went on a listing presentation a little earlier in the week, and we showed them that in our database of 25,000 buyers, we had a little over 800 people that were looking for properties like the one they were about to put on the market. And so it's just this incredible opportunity to kind of skip the line, right? Skip to the front and potentially sell your home to one of these buyers that are out there anxiously awaiting new inventory, which has been a recurring theme for years at this point, really since the start of COVID. I mean, before COVID, we had about 6,000, 6,500-ish homes for sale. Now we bottomed out to where at one point in time, if you really looked at the numbers and you really looked at what was available, we had a few hundred homes that you could purchase and move into. A lot of new construction, a lot of proposed construction, a lot of stuff out of the area that was entered into our Charleston MLS system. Now we're 2,300-ish. We feel like maybe we've bottomed out in terms of inventory, and we're starting to see some increases, but it's very, very small. It's very nominal. Too early to guess as to whether this past few weeks kind of represented the bottom of the market in terms of availability of homes for sale. But with everything that's happening right now, a lot of people let's be honest, do not have a lot of confidence in the real estate market. And the data shows it. We're looking at a significant number of factors that are a bit unprecedented. And so for, me, a local real estate agent that, I'm also a national or international real estate coach. So I'm pretty well connected countrywide to what's happening in respective markets and how agents that are operating at really high levels are dealing with that, how consumers in their areas are feeling about the market, the decisions they're making, so on and so forth. So I've got a good pulse on what's happening here, but, I just want to kind of bounce around a little bit and talk about a few different things that, might result from the Silicon Valley Bank closure. I mean, a lot of people just want to know straight up what's going to happen. Well, who knows? I mean, really, I don't. I've got a good guess. And if you've followed this show for the 10 years that I've had it, toward the end of the year, I make predictions for the next year, and they're solid. I mean, I'm getting it right. there have been a few swings and misses with regard to things like interest rates, and that's kind of the big question right now, right? If Powell decides to raise rates again at the end of this month, that's not going to be a good sign, and here's part of the problem, right? So, I think the number is that every month people are spending $455 more at the grocery store than they were this time last year. So money is just evaporating in all ways. But, so we complain about inflation and how much it's impacting us, but we're still spending our money. We're still paying those prices. And it's likely going to cause the Fed to continue to raise rates until the spending gets under control because the prices are along with it. I mean, really, the economic lines right now are pretty zigzaggy at the moment. Some, like the strong job market, point to continued growth in spending. But on the other hand, look at something like the increasing amount of overdue car loans, right? Pointing to a potential slowdown. There was an article that came out that said that, I forget who said it at this point. I wrote it down, but I forgot to source it. But it estimated that households have about 10 months of spending power if they continue to deplete excess savings at the pace they have been over the past 6 months. I mean, personal spending was up 1.8% in January. So when you look at getting into the housing market, especially as a first-time home buyer or in that entry-level price range where, maybe it's blue collar, maybe your income is your income. There's not a lot of opportunity for fluctuation in it. In other words, every year is going to be pretty similar. You don't have huge roller coaster rides like some of us do in sales. It makes it really tough. And so if you're not budgeted, if you're not really in tune with what you're spending your money on, and you don't have a plan for saving that money to get into home ownership, then you're paying the mortgage payment of, more than likely either a local investor or, a hedge fund, a private equity firm that has purchased an unbelievable amount of real estate over the past several years. I mean, I can almost guarantee you that there is a home in your neighborhood right now that is corporately owned. American Homes for Rent's a big one. First Key Homes was a huge one. We were hired by them to help them acquire investment property, and it stopped. It stopped about 6 months ago. Yeah, it stopped about 6 months ago. But I used to have a $30 million a month check that I had to write in the form of real estate acquisitions for this company. I mean, that's how hot and heavy they were going after things. And it was, we're paying cash, we're paying full price, no appraisal, no repairs. We just want the house because we want to stick the tenants in it. And we know that, and they played it pretty well. They knew that things would slow down economically, that a lot of people would take the easy route and then become their pool of potential tenants because now they can't get back in. Now it's too expensive. So we've got some serious issues that we're facing here as a nation, economically, politically. I mean, my God, at least Jimmy Carter can rest easy knowing he's not the worst president we've ever had. So where do we go from here? That's the big question. Well, let's first figure out where we are, and let's talk about some stats here in our local real estate market. Let's understand what's going on in our little corner of the world. Let's kind of stay in our lane, or stay in our hula hoop, as some sometimes say. I picked that up in a church group, by the way. I don't stay in your hula hoop. It means just stay in your own lane. But I want to talk about what's happening here in Charleston, because what's happening in some other parts of the country, I mean, could that mirror to an effect what's happening in Mount Pleasant or downtown or Somerville or just Charleston in general? Maybe. But we'll talk more about that when we come back from this short break. So if you'd like to reach out to me, if you want to have a conversation about real estate, something that you're thinking about doing, buying a home, selling a home, is now the right time? What does it look like if we push things out a little bit? Is there a benefit in waiting? Is there a benefit in doing something now? Let's have that honest conversation. And let's remember that real estate is local, right? What's important is what's happening in your area, in your price range. And how that impacts your property. What's happening in Las Vegas or Nashville or Charlotte, which, by the way, are all markets that are going down right now, isn't necessarily going to happen to us. Or if it does, we usually have a pretty good historical set of data that says that what happens to those markets doesn't happen as harshly to our market. It doesn't happen as the percentages aren't as low when prices go down, and we recover quicker. So there's a little encouragement. But we're going to get into some specifics when we come back. If you want to reach out to me, 843-800-0065. That's my cell. You can call or text that number, 843-800-0065. Or check us out online, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or finally, you can just send me an email if you'd like. Brian@BrianBeattyTeam.com. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back.
Visit Brian Beatty's website at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on The Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.